Welcome to this session on this Power BI. So I'm from HKR Trainings, and today we are going to cover some Power BI related frequently asked interview questions and answers. So let's start with the first question. The first question, what is Power BI? So actually, what is this tool and why people are using this tool? Power BI is a Microsoft tool, and it's a major and important business intelligence tool to visualize the large amount of data in a simple ways. It's a no-code tool with minimal coding, and most of the time we will use the menu-based options. So till now, people are using traditional tools like Excel, but that Excel is not going to handle a big amount of data. So that's where these Power BI come into the place. So people are using this tool to visualize the large amount of data in a very easy way. So that is all about Power BI and its business intelligence. Not only for reporting, we can also analyze the past data, present data, and the future data as well. So that is a brief about this Power BI tool. And the second question is all about building blocks of Power BI. So this tool is having multiple components are involved in. So it is a combination of multiple components. The major component is the visualization, where we can build the visuals. And the second one is the data sets for self-service analytics, where we can create the data sets. Those data sets will be utilized by the non-technical team to build their own visuals. And the next one is a dashboard for management. So we can also create dashboards. Dashboard is a collection of multiple reports. So managers can easily track the multiple reports in single place. And the next one is the tiles for important alerts. As like general alerts in our mobiles or any other subscriptions, when the numbers are reached a certain target line, then we will immediately get an alert. So those kind of things we can implement in this tool. Okay. And the next question is how to reshape the data in Power BI. As we know, this tool is related to data visualization. Before doing the visualization, we need to reshape the data. We need to format it correctly according to the project requirement. But how we are going to do that? Within this tool, we have an inbuilt Power Query tool that is equivalent to inbuilt ETL tool. ETL means extraction, transformation, and loading. So for example, I'll show you this architecture. So here we have multiple data sources, and it doesn't matter what is the data source and where the company is storing the data. From any data source, we can connect to the Power BI and we can get the data into the Power BI, that is extraction part. In this Power BI Desktop tool, we will do the transformations according to the requirement. After doing the transformation, we will build the reports in this tool itself. So that is visualization. And after building the tool, we will publish into the service. This is the cloud where we can configure the things to refresh the report automatically. And from the service, people will consume the report either through mobiles, desktop, laptops, whatever the device with internet access, we can access the report. This is the end-to-end architecture of this tool. Extraction, transformation, loading. These three things we can do it in the single tool within the Power BI Desktop. In this tool, we have a Power Query. So that is all about Power Query tool. So with using Power Query, we will reshape the data. And the next question is, how can we refresh the data in Power BI? So once we build the report, that report needs to be refreshed every day, every hour, every second as per the requirement automatically. To automatically refresh the report, we need to implement some scenarios in this Power BI service. So that is scheduled refresh, we call it as. It's like an alarm. When we set an alarm, at the time the refresh will be triggered and report will be refreshed automatically. We don't need to do it manually. Power BI service will take care of the refresh part. So it's a one-time go. Once we build the report, then remaining things taken care by the Power BI service. And the next question is, which filter level is equivalent to Power BI Desktop? So we have filters and slicers. Both are there and both will do different tasks. And in filters, we have different levels, and in slicer, we have different levels. But in filters and in slicers, this page level filter will act as similar level of access. Like with page level filter, we can filter the data as well as we can view the visuals. So this page level filter will act as filters. In the same level, it will act as a slicer. Yeah, this is also frequently asking. And the next question is, can many-to-many relationship work in tabular model? So before explaining this tabular model, you need to understand what is tabular model. Tabular model is, we can create star schemas, snowflake schemas by using DAGs and by creating relationships. We can create measures, we can create calculated columns. And while creating this data model, we can create relationships. The relationships can be one-to-one, one-to-many, or many-to-many relationships. But in Power BI in data model, we can create all kinds of relationship. But in this tabular model, we cannot create many-to-many relationships. So this question is also asking very frequently. And the next question is all about row context in the DAX. What is row context? So first DAX, we'll talk about the DAX, then we'll talk about the row context. DAX means data analysis expression, where we can write some formulas to do some advanced things. While doing this calculation, this context will come into place. Row context means this DAX functions will get into row by row iteration. It will do the calculation. That is row context. Row context means row by row iteration. It will do the calculation at row level. And the next question is, it will do the calculation row by row iteration. The next question is all about filter context. So this is opposite to the row context. So in the row context, calculations will do it row by row level. But in the filter context, it will do it column level, not a row by row level. So I'll show you in the tool. So this is the tool. Here we have the data. So row calculation means, for example, sales divided by quantity. 77 divided by 2, we will get some number. So this is row by row calculations. Row by row calculations. This is row context. Column context means sum of sales. It will take the entire column as a reference and it will add all the numbers into one place. This is filter context. This is also filter context. Row context means row by row calculation. And the next question is, what is calculate function in DAX? Calculate function is one of the important function in the DAX. In real time, people are using this function very frequently. This calculate function will do, it will modify the filter context. That means while doing some calculation, we can add some filters. For example, so this is the data. I'm going to create a measure. So this measure is all about sum of sales, total sales. So the simple measure is sum of sales. And this measure is going to give total sales of this data set. Total sales of this data set. We can drag and drop that measure and we can see the number. Okay, so this is total sales. But what is calculate function means? With the help of calculate function on this measure, we can add some filters like region equal to south. So this kind of filters we can add on expressions with the help of calculate function. So this will give you south region sales only instead of total sales. So this is south region sales. And it's a filter modifier in the DAX. And the next question is, what is XVelocity in memory analytics that is used in Power BI? Power BI is a tool. This tool will store the data inside the tool in XVelocity in-memory analytics engine. What is this XVelocity in-memory analytics engine means? It will store the data in a compressed format. When the data is stored in the compressed format, we can handle large amount of data in an easy way. So this question is asking very frequently, and that compression format we call it as a VertiPack engine in Power BI. So it will store the data in a column wise instead of row wise, for example. So this is the tool. In this tool, you can see this is the data in a row wise. Okay. And if you see here category office supply repeated multiple times. But in the background, this Power BI tool, it will store only one value, and as and when required, it will produce multiple values. That will do it in the background. So in that way, the data size will be reduced without losing any important information. That we call it as VertiPack engine in XVelocity in-memory analytics. So in this way, if we store the data, the performance of this report will be improved. And the next question is all about what is query folding in Power Query. As we know, in the tool, we have a Power Query inbuilt ETL tool available. So by using this Power Query, we will do some transformation like removing the columns and creating the columns. So while doing this transformation, this Power Query will generate the SQL queries in the background. That queries will sending back to the data source. The use of sending back to the data source is, instead of doing in the Power Query transformation, those transformation will be done at the data source level. Here query folding means Power Query will generate some SQL queries automatically. Those queries will send back to the data source. In the data source, the data will be transformed. When the data is transformed at the data source level, the query performance will be improved. So that is all about query folding. The next question is, what is the common table function for grouping the data in DAX? As we know, this tool is all about showing the visuals, showing the visuals from the detailed data to create some summary views. For example, here we have the detailed information. So here we have around 9,000 records are there. 9,000 records. By looking at this 9,000 records, we cannot make any insights. But with the help of DAX, we can create some summarized views, summary views. For example, I'll create a function. So we have a measure concept. By using these measures, sorry, not measures. By using these tables, we can create summary views with the help of summarized column function. This summarized column function will create some summary views from the detailed data. Region and region wise, region sales, sum of sales. So this will generate region wise sales from the detailed information. So this is the one of the main function to create these kind of summary views from this detailed data. And the next question is all about what is special or unique about the calculate and calculate table function. As we discussed, calculate function is a filter modifier. But what is calculate table? I'll show you now in the tool. So we created one function, one measure, that is total sales. In this total sales, we have calculate function. This function will help us to add the filters. So this is a measure. But instead of calculate, by using the same formula, we can create a table. So I'm going to create a table. So this is a table too. So instead of calculate, here I'm adding calculate table. And here we need to give a table reference. Order. On this table, I'm creating a south table. This is the original table. In this original table, we have all the regions. From all the regions, I'm just creating a subset table, including only South region information. Here we can see table 2 is created, and we can see the data under table 2 here. This is order table, table 2. So this table 2 is having South region data only. And in the original table, we can see all the regions. So that is the different. Calculate will do calculations in measures with some filters, but calculate table will do the same thing, but in the table output. This is a measure function. This is a table function. That is the difference. And the next question is, what is the main difference between distinct and values? So this distinct and values both will give you the same output. Only difference is distinct will calculate the null values also, but values will not consider the nulls. For example, here we have the data, and I'm creating a measure with the distinct regions. Distinct regions equal to, we have distinct function and the regions. So distinct function, and when you drag this measure, we will get some numbers. Sorry, distinct count. Yeah, we have distinct regions 4. And in the same way, we can also create a values function. I'm going to create a values and region. So this will also give four number. So where is this value? Table 3. Table 3. So table 3 giving 4 regions, and creating one more new table with the distinct and regions. Both will give you the same output. So region, 4 regions in table 4. In table 3 also 4 regions with the values with the distinct. The difference is this distinct function will also consider the null values if you have any, but values will ignore the null values. This is the difference. And the next question is all about what is query folding in Power Query. Query folding means sending the SQL queries back to the data source from the Power Query. So as we discussed, Power Query will generate some queries, and we can see those queries in View Native Query option. These SQL queries will send back to the data source. So that is query folding. So in this way, the Power Query performance will be improved. And the next question is all about which chart will show correlation between two variables. What is correlation and how we can show? Correlation means any two numerical values we can compare. For example, this is the tool, and I'm going to create a scatter chart. So this scatter chart will show you the comparison between two numerical values. One numerical value is sales and another numerical value is profit, and by region. And I'm adding sales into size. See, so in y-axis we can add profit, in x-axis we can add sales. If you read about this, this is related to central region. In central region, we have low sales and low profit. And here, and if you see this, this is related to south. Here we have high sales but low profits. So this kind of correlation, this kind of comparison we can see in the scattered chart. So if you see, if you create any trend line, it will show like this. So if you if you have a correlation chart like this, that will be a positive correlation, and another one is negative correlation. I'll show you. So this kind of chart, it's a correlation, positive correlation and negative correlation and no correlation. So these kind of charts we can create with the help of scatter charts in Power BI. This is the scatter chart. And the next question is it possible to have created multiple active relationship in Power BI? So while doing the data model, we cannot create more than one active relationship. We can only create one active relationships. What is active relationship? What is inactive relationship? We will see. In the data model, if you see, this is the order table. This is the people table. Okay. So in between any two tables, you can create only one active relationship. But you cannot create. So if you create another relationship with the person in the customer name, that will be an inactive relationship. The inactive relationship will be indicated by using these dotted lines. So the answer is we can only create one active relationship like this. And the next question is all about what is the difference between filter and the slicer. So we have filters and slicers, both are available in Power BI. Filters are, we can add filters in Power BI using filter panel. Here we have different filters are available. These are all filters in filter panel. But the slicer is a direct interaction with the visuals. Slicer is kind of a visual and where we can add it in the report canvas. I'm adding the same. In filters, we can hide this filter, we can log this filter, and we can hide this entire filter panel. But here slicer is direct interaction with the visuals. We cannot hide it, we cannot log it. That is the difference between slicer and filter. And the next question is, what is the default interactivity in Power BI Desktop? So in Power BI, we have three types of interactions. One is a none interaction, what is highlight interaction, and another is filter interaction. For example, here we have, I'm creating two charts, region and sales. And here I'm creating category and sales. So interaction means if you select something and other chart will be interactive. So this is highlight interaction. This is the default interaction in Power BI. And if you want to change the interactions, when you click on something and here you will get these icons, none interaction, highlight interaction, and filter interaction. If you select none, there is no interaction. If you select filter, it will be filtered. If you select highlight, it will be highlight. These are the interaction. The default interaction is highlight. And the next question is, what is incremental refresh? Incremental refresh means we can refresh the Power BI data partially. Suppose if you are connecting to huge amount of data, if you want to refresh the entire data, it will take a lot of time. Instead of refreshing the entire data, we can refresh the latest information and we can improve the query performance. So with the help of incremental refresh, we can only refresh the latest data instead of full refresh. And the next question is, what are the different connectivity modes available in Power BI? We have three types of different connectivity modes. That is import. We can download the data within the tool. We can directly connect to the data source. That is, the data source the data will be in the data source and the visuals are in the report. There will be a connection and live connection. Live connection means we can only build the visuals. We cannot do data model. We cannot do Power Query transformations. Import means downloading the data and doing all the transformations. Direct query means data will be in data source. We can do limited transformations. Live means no transformation, only visualization. And the next question is, what are the common table functions for grouping the data? So as we discussed, Power BI is a visualization tool. Visualization means from the detailed information, we need to create some summary views. With the help of summarize and summarized columns, we can create these kind of grouping data. And the next question is, write a DAX for dynamic security. What is dynamic security? Means if you open your report, you need to see your data only. If I open my report, I need to see my data only. So this kind of dynamic security we can implement using DAX. For that, we will use this function. Username and user principal names. These are the two DAX functions which will help in implementing the dynamic security. And the next question is, what is Power BI Q&A? Q and A means question and answers. That means within the Power BI tool, we can ask natural language questions as like a Google. In Google, we can type whatever we want and Google will give us the answers. In the same way, in Power BI, we can ask questions about our data and tool itself will analyze the data and it will provide you the results. To do that, we need to do proper data model, proper transformations. That is Power BI Q&A. And the next question is, what is M language? M language means we call it as a mashup language. And this mashup language will be used in Power Query to do advanced transformations. For example, so this is the Power BI tool. I'm opening the Power Query. So in the Power Query, we can do some transformations like removing the column. For each step, it will generate a code. This code we call it as M code. Initially, this code will be generated by the tool. We don't need to create or we don't need to write anything, but we need to understand this code. And here we can see the entire code. So this code we call it as M code. And this M code, by using this M code, we will do the transformations in Power Query. And the next question is, what are the different types of Power BI licenses? Individually, this tool is completely free. And we have other licenses called Pro license and Premium license and Premium per user license. So each license will have some different cost and different options. Okay. And the next question is, how many number of times we can schedule a Power BI report refresh? So this is related to automatic report refresh. It depends on the license that we choose. If we choose Pro license, we have 8 times. And if we choose Premium license, we have 48 times automatic refresh. These are the limitations in the Power BI licenses in the refreshing part. And this question is also asking very frequently in the interviews. And the next question is all about what is Dataflow. So as we know, we have Power Query inbuilt tool available within the Power BI. So this same Power Query is also available in the cloud. The cloud version of Power Query, we call it as Dataflow. Cloud version of Power Query, we call it as Dataflow. So we will use this Dataflow to create centralized data set at organization level. And the next question is, what is the use? Like, why use selection panel in Power BI? So in Power BI Desktop tool, we have different panels are available, like fields panel, visualization panel, filter panel. Along with these 3 panels, we have bookmark panel, selection panel, performance analyzer, sync slicers. So these many panels are available. Fields panel is used to see the metadata, and visualization panel is used to build the visuals and doing the formatting things. Performance analyzer will be used to improve the performance of the report. And bookmark is used to create some bookmarks, live bookmarks. Sync slicer is used to sync the multiple pages by using single slicer. And selection panel is used to hide the visuals or enable the visuals. For example, here we have a slicer. If you hide it, this will be hidden. If you hide it, this will be hidden. To hide or unhide, to change the layering of the tool, we will use the selection panel. And the next question is, and the last question is, why is top end not accessible for the page and report level filter? Before that, we need to understand what is top end. I'll show you in the live example. So this is Power BI tool. So in this Power BI tool, we can build a visual based on the product name and the sales, product name and the sales amount. But I don't want to see all this product. I want to see top 10 products based on this numbers. To do that, go to filter and here sales. And here we have a in this visual. So we can add a sales field here. And instead of advanced filtering, we can choose top in and top 10 products based on the sales amount, sum of amount. Just click apply. Here we can see only top 10 products from the entire list. But this top 10 filter cannot be used in the page level or else all pages. This is not possible. We can only use this top 10 filter in visual level, because in visual level only we can see top end products. In page level, we can have multiple products, multiple visuals. So in multiple visuals, we cannot apply on this. We cannot apply this top end filter. That is the reason. So this is all about frequently asked questions in the Power BI. And the next question is, what type of context available in Power BI? So as we discussed, we have two types of context. That is row context. It will do the calculation at row level. And the next one is filter context. It will do the calculation at column level. And that's all about the frequently asked questions in Power BI. If you have any questions, please reach out to us for any training or questions related. Thank you all.